Is there a difference between what is legal and what is moral? Here is something to think about while you listen to this video. Could you work for an organization whose ethics or values differ from your own? Early in a career, employees may feel they have limited choices and must accept positions that don't fully align with their personal beliefs. In some cases, the differences may feel minor, such as approaches to sustainability, transparency, or employee treatment. In other situations, the conflict may be more significant, forcing you to decide where your personal ethical boundaries truly lie. These moments challenge individuals to reflect on what they are willing to compromise, what they are willing to advocate for, and what they are unwilling to accept. Ethical dilemmas like these are not limited to large corporations or international business. They can occur in almost any organization, including small businesses, nonprofits, government agencies, and educational institutions. Budget pressures, performance goals, leadership styles, and workplace culture can all create situations where legal actions still feel morally uncomfortable. Learning how to navigate these moments by asking questions, seeking guidance, speaking up appropriately, or knowing when to step away is a critical leadership skill. Ethical growth often comes not from avoiding these dilemmas, but from thoughtfully confronting them and learning how to act with integrity in imperfect systems. Let me pose a real-life ethical dilemma for you. Listen to this as if you were a mid- or upper-level manager in a large company. What is legal refers to what is permitted by law. Laws vary widely from country to country and are shaped by political systems, economic priorities, and enforcement capabilities. A business operating internationally may be in full compliance with local regulations while still engaging in practices that would be illegal or deeply controversial at home. What is moral, however, goes beyond legal compliance. Moral responsibility asks whether an action is right, fair, and just, even if no law prohibits it. Ethical leadership often requires asking difficult questions. Who is affected by this decision? Who bears the risk? Who benefits? Legal standards establish a minimum level of acceptable behavior, but moral standards challenge leaders to consider higher expectations, especially when their decisions affect vulnerable populations. For managers, this creates real tension. Choosing the legally permitted option may protect the company in the short term, but it can damage trust, reputation, and long-term sustainability. Ethical leadership means recognizing that just because something is legal does not automatically make it right, and that true leadership often requires the courage to exceed the minimum standard. American energy companies, particularly oil and gas firms, often operate in developing nations where natural resources are abundant, but regulations, infrastructure, and governance may be weaker than in the United States. These partnerships are usually legal and often encouraged by host governments because they bring jobs, tax revenue, and economic development. From a business perspective, these operations can be extremely profitable and help meet global energy demand. However, ethical challenges frequently arise. In many cases, U.S. energy companies operate in regions where environmental regulations are minimal or poorly enforced. Local communities depend on land and water affected by extraction. Governments may lack transparency or be affected by corruption. Concerns have included environmental degradation, such as oil spills, water contamination, and long-term damage to farmland and fisheries. In some regions, communities have reported displacement, loss of traditional livelihoods, or health problems linked to pollution. From an ethical standpoint, a key question emerges. Should American companies apply the same environmental and labor standards abroad that they are required to follow at home, even when local laws don't require it? Some companies argue that they are only responsible for following the laws of the host country. Others argue that corporations have a moral responsibility to avoid harm, even when the law allows it. Cases involving companies such as ExxonMobil and other multinational energy firms have sparked global debate over corporate responsibility versus national sovereignty, economic development versus environmental justice, legal compliance versus ethical leadership. For managers on the ground, these issues are rarely abstract. Decisions about cost-cutting, safety investments, environmental protections, and relationships with local officials often fall directly on leadership teams. This makes the situation not just a corporate ethics issue, but a personal leadership decision. Think about the following: ethical decision-making questions. Answer them as if you are the manager, not an outside observer. You are the regional operations manager for a U.S. energy company operating in a developing country. Local environmental laws are far less strict than U.S. regulations. Do you follow local law only, or voluntarily apply higher U.S. standards? How do you justify your decision to corporate leadership and shareholders? A local government official suggests that ignoring certain safety or environmental practices will speed up approvals and help the company remain competitive. How do you respond as a manager? Where do you draw the line between cultural norms and unethical behavior? Community leaders report health and environmental concerns tied to your company's operations, but addressing them will significantly increase costs and delay production. What is your ethical responsibility to the community versus your responsibility to the company? What factors most influence your final decision? If you believe the operation is legal but ethically troubling, what options do you realistically have as a manager? Do you comply, speak up internally, redesign operations, or consider leaving the project? What are the professional and personal risks of each choice? There are no easy answers. Many of the decisions we face exist in ethical gray areas, rather than clear black and white choices. Ultimately, we are often deciding not what is perfect, but what we can live with and stand behind.